Welcome to VT Sports, The Rundown, Episode 2. I am Chris Manna, your host. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday morning. Let's get right to it. The NBA playoffs are in full swing and all the stars were out this weekend. Let's run it down. Lakers knock off the Houston Rockets in Game 1 in Los Angeles behind a vintage LeBron performance. He goes 19, 13, and 9, just short of a triple-double. But the big story remains that stars on both sides not in the action. KD missed the game with a knee for Houston, and as we spoke about previously, Luka and Reeves look like they're going to miss the entire way. At 41, LeBron's durability will continue to be the biggest factor here. They get right back at it tonight with Kevin Durant, the greatest offensive force of his generation, expected to return. Now, the first game was a 9-point difference. Can KD's presence make up that swing? I expect it does. Houston wins Game 2. Warriors eliminated in a play-in, the latest in a series of early exits for them. Let's run it down. We may have seen the end of the great Warriors dynasty in real time just a couple nights ago. Now, Steph Curry appears to have a couple of great years left in him. He hasn't slowed down. He confirmed as much during the week when they asked him about his future, but the status of Steve Kerr, head coach, is his contract is up, and Draymond Green has been rumored to be on the outs in the Bay for a long time. So what do we have going forward? Expect to see, and we've spoken about it earlier, Golden State to try to make a push at a free agent. Kawhi's name has been floated, and don't be shocked at all because over the last couple of years, we've heard a little bit about Giannis to the Bay. But the Warriors have to do something to capitalize on the last few great years of the legend Steph Curry. Stay tuned. Let's see what they do. The Eastern Conference is starting to really heat up too in the NBA. Let's run that down. The Knicks knock off the Hawks in Game 1 behind 53 combined points from Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, the Knicks fired Coach Thibodeau last year after getting within 2 wins of the NBA Finals for the first time in a quarter century. So they're going to have to get at least that far to justify the firing of Tibbs and the hiring of Mike Woodson. On the other side of the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers behind a strong showing from Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, who combined for 54 points, take down Game 1, and they're going to be a tough out for anybody with scoring prowess like that. Giants deal disgruntled defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence. Let's run that down. That means it is time to put up or shut up for GM Joe Schoen, who's already on his second head coach and many feel is on far less steady ground since the hiring of head coach John Harbaugh. The Giants have many holes to fill. Look for them to bring in a new leadership voice in the defensive side of the ball. My pick is Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State at 5. And with that newly acquired number 10 overall pick, expect them to bring in some offensive firepower to sort of take some of the heat off young star wideout Malik Neighbors and add some offensive firepower to ascending quarterback phenom Jackson Dart. Wide receiver Jordan Tyson or perhaps Makai Lemon could fill that role beautifully. Will Anderson signs the highest non-quarterback deal in NFL history. Let's run it down. 3 years, $150 million with $134 million guaranteed. Look, he's the best player on the best defense in the NFL, so it's very well deserved. He was an absolute terror during the playoffs. Just want to give a quick shout to Will Anderson. Congratulations, brother. Money well deserved. New hottest position group heading into the NFL draft. Let's run it down. The wide receiver group heading into this NFL draft is taking shape as the hottest position, with 4 potential prospects that could be taken inside the top 15. Ohio State's Carnell Tate, Arizona State's Jordan Tyson, USC's Makai Lemon, and now we're hearing words that Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana could crack that top 15. Don't be surprised at all by this. The way the game has changed over the last decade makes these wide receivers so much more prevalent than they may have been in generations past. But heed this advice. It's a risky pick because for every Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson that we've seen hit at the beginning of the first, we've seen Kevin White's and John Ross's bust. So pick wisely, do your homework, and wideouts, show out. Is that a wrap for Brock Lesnar? Let's run it down. Brock Lesnar appears to have hung up his wrestling boots after a loss at WrestleMania this weekend. Now look, we get it. WWE is scripted. And notice I didn't say fake because the athletic prowess of Brock Lesnar is very, very real. We know him as a WWE superstar, but make no mistake, he's also an NCAA All-American and national champion at the University of Minnesota. He was a UFC heavyweight champion, and he also had a short stint as a defensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL. So yes, his WWE career is what we know him the best for, but make no mistake, this dude is a specimen, a freak in nature, an athlete in every sense of the word. Brock, if this is it, if this is a send-off for you, very well deserved, brother. It's been a pleasure. A young NHL phenom making a run at Gretzky? Let's run it down. Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks joins Wayne Gretzky as the only teams in NHL history to register 40 goals and 70 assists. Not Crosby, not Ovechkin, not McDavid. Macklin Celebrini. Anytime you're being mentioned alongside the great one, you know you're doing something serious. Many would argue he is the number one in his sport with the furthest gap between himself and number two. So Macklin, keep up the great work, brother. We are all pumped to see what you do the next generation. The great Lionel Messi carrying soccer in the United States heading into the World Cup? Let's run it down. Lionel Messi notches 2 more goals, including a late one in the 79th minute, to lead Inter Miami FC to a massive victory over the Colorado Rapids in front of 75,000 people in Mile High. Yes, you heard me right. 75,000 for soccer in America. To see soccer on fire in the United States is amazing, with the biggest tournament in the world coming to our soil this summer. UFC International Fight Week card is starting to take shape. Let's run that down. Every summer, the UFC loads up their version of the Midsummer Classic for International Fight Week, which takes place in July. Many feared that this card would take a bit of a dip this year with the White House card just a couple of weeks prior. Well, have no fear. The first few names for International Fight Week have started to leak, and if they are serious, we are in for a good one. The return of the notorious Conor McGregor appears to be all but done, which in itself is huge, but names like Paddy Pimblett have also been linked to this card. Perhaps the two of them? Another massive name to watch is Gable Steveson, who signed with the UFC recently. And if you're not familiar with Gable Steveson, get familiar with Gable Steveson. A multiple-time NCAA national champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and a multiple-time world champion. And don't be shocked at all if he comes on like we expect him to add UFC champion to that staunch resume in the near future. That is going to do it for our Monday rundown, guys. Make sure you add comments. Let us know what you think about what we're doing. Like, share, and sub to VT Sports. We're going to be coming at you guys with a whole bunch more. Thanks for checking in.